Protein pancakes are great. Huge fan. There's just one really big problem, having to make it every morning, which is why today I'm sharing our chocolate protein pancake bars, which are really great to meal prep, make a whole batch for about 4 days and have your breakfast ready to go. This is an absolute game changer if you are working toward a body recomposition goal and trying to get high quality protein in with your first meal, but finding that you just don't have time. So let's dive into the recipe. My name's Autumn. I'm a certified clinical nutritionist with my master's nutrition human performance. And this recipe was actually developed by AN team member Katie. Right after she had her baby Jonah, we were chatting back and forth, talking about how she was having a hard time getting enough protein in while also making sure that she could have a delicious meal while also taking care of a newborn, which is already a feat in itself, takes a lot of time. So she took our usual protein pancake recipe and made it into pancake protein bars. That way she could meal prep it and have it ready for the entire week and save a lot of time. So we shared it on the blog and it's been a massive hit with the community. So I wanted to share it with you guys on YouTube as well. And one of the best things about this recipe is that it is so easy to make. It's packed with protein to help support a body recomposition goal. It helps to boost satiety, but it's also packed with really nutrient dense ingredients. So we have eggs, we have cottage cheese, we have my zero sugar protein powder, foods that help to provide high quality sources of protein that are also high in really important nutrients like vitamin K2, choline, and calcium. So I have my bowl, let's start making it. So for this recipe, we're just putting everything into the bowl, mixing it up, baking it. Very, very easy. And we're going to start off with cottage cheese. I'm going to be cutting this recipe in half, so it's making 2 servings, but you can find the full recipe for 4 servings linked in the blog post down below. So we're going to use 1 cup of full fat cottage cheese, preferably if you can find it, because I don't know about you guys, but I've had a huge issue with finding full fat cottage cheese at the grocery store lately. All they've been having is like the lactose free option or a lot of low fat or 0 fat options, or the next best thing, which is this double cream option. So let me know in the comments below if you guys have been having issues finding full fat cottage cheese. I think finally people are just understanding that the full fat option is the healthier option, and it's become really popular and the stores just haven't kept up with the demand yet. So please, grocery stores, get some more full fat cottage cheese. But full fat cottage cheese is actually better than the low fat options because studies have found that full fat dairy is inversely associated with obesity, which means that it can be helpful for achieving a weight loss goal. It also tends to be more satiating, which means that it's going to make you feel more full and satisfied after the meal and prevent more cravings. And most of the nutrients are actually found in the fat, like vitamin K2, which is really important for taking the calcium that's in the food out of the arteries and putting it into your bones. That's actually found in the fat. So when you remove the fat or use low fat options, you drastically cut down on the vitamin K2 content, which is hard to find in other foods other than full fat dairy. So we're starting off with that, which also is obviously going to provide us some high quality sources of protein. And PS, even if you think that you're not a cottage cheese fan, when it's cooked into the recipe, you don't even taste it. It's just light and fluffy and delicious. Next up, I'm doing 4 eggs. So that means we're getting 2 eggs per serving, which you can get your daily choline amounts with just 3 full eggs per day, as long as you're using the yolk. So just like with the full fat cottage cheese, we want to make sure that we're also using the whole egg and not just the egg white. Most of the nutrients that are going to make eggs so great for us are actually in the yolk, including vitamin A, which is really important for a lot of things, but also fertility. And obviously the egg is going to provide high quality sources of protein and fat to help boost satiety and achieve a body recomposition goal. We have these first 2 ingredients. I'm going to give this a light mix before we add in the protein powder, which actually this base alone would make some really great scrambled eggs. You could just mix that up, throw it in like you would make normal scrambled eggs. So good. Now we have, for additional protein and flavor, we have my 0 sugar chocolate protein powder. I specifically developed my protein powder to taste amazing in recipes. I just found that so many other protein powders made their flavors so excessively strong or so sickeningly sweet that when you actually added it into recipes, it just didn't taste good. It was overpowering. So when I developed my protein powder, I wanted to make sure that it actually tasted great in recipes because that's how I like to consume it. And that's honestly how it really should be consumed, to help bump up the overall protein content of a meal and be used synergistically with the other ingredients in a meal to achieve a goal. Oh, it smells so good. Oh. So we're gonna use 2 scoops of my 0 sugar chocolate protein powder, which if you wanna check it out so you can make this recipe, I will have it linked down description below as well as popped up here somewhere. There's been numerous times we've sold out of both chocolate and vanilla because our community absolutely loves it. Okay, so the original recipe calls for coconut flour, which you can absolutely use. I personally don't use coconut flour as often. I prefer almond flour. I just find that it makes it a little bit less dry, but either works. So I'm going to put in 2 tablespoons here, which almond flour is a really great low glycemic load alternative to traditional flours, which means it's not going to have that big blood sugar spike that other types of flours would have. Okay, and then to add even more chocolatey goodness, we're going to be using some cocoa powder, and we're going to use 1 tablespoon here. And then just a teaspoon of apple cider vinegar, a half a teaspoon of baking soda, 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract, and a couple tablespoons of a 0 sugar dark chocolate chip. I like to use the brand Lily's. I actually think it tastes even better than just regular chocolate chips. It's stevia sweetened, so it's not going to have that same blood sugar spike as other just regular sweetened chocolate. Nom, 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 nom. And then just a little pinch of salt. So then I just stirred it up to make sure everything's very well mixed. But a pro tip, something that I did the first time I made this that actually turned out really well, before adding in the chocolate chips, but keeping all the other ingredients in here, if you have a handheld immersion blender, you can just give it like a quick little blitz throughout it, and it does make it a lot more smooth. So I'm just pouring the mixture into a baking dish that I just greased with a little bit of grass-fed butter. If you do the full recipe, then the bars will come out thicker than this, but I'm cutting it in half, so they are going to be thinner than the original. And then I'm just going to put it in the oven that I preheated at 350 degrees. And since I am cutting it in half, I am also going to cut the cook time down too. I'm going to do it for about 25 minutes or until the center comes out clean. If you are doing the full recipe, then it will be more like 40 minutes because it is going to be a thicker pancake bar. So as always, we need a little taste test. You can see the chocolate chips on the bottom. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. So fluffy, so good. So this whole serving that I made actually makes 2 servings, which means that 1 serving is 4 of these guys, which is really nice. To make it a complete meal, what I recommend is adding on like some Greek yogurt or skyr for a little topping, and then maybe putting on some fresh berries like strawberries or raspberries, and you can sprinkle on some high quality fats like either some pumpkin seeds or almond butter. That way you're rounding it out with some high quality fats and fiber in addition to all the great protein you're getting with this right here. So I will have the full recipe linked down in the description below, but if you want one of my favorite recipes that I use pretty much every single day during my postpartum 20-pound weight loss journey, you can find my chocolate chip protein waffles with this video right here. Plus my husband Trevor shares his top tips for how to make them taste amazing. Also, if you're new to my channel and you love this science-backed and delicious information, make sure you subscribe right here. Come out new videos every Tuesday and Thursday. All right guys, thanks so much for tuning in, and I'll see you in my next video.